What's up everyone, welcome to the video and happy 4th of July. We're here breaking down the Grand Park 220 at the Chicago Street Course for Sunday, July 2nd around 5 p.m. Eastern. And yes, the time has finally come. It's the subject that everyone's been talking about all season long and how we're going to approach this, what it's going to be like, how this racing is going to be. Is Chicago safe? Either way, we are finally here, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I always thought coming in, this seemed a bit unnecessary. I thought there was other tracks we could have went to instead of running this thing in downtown Chicago. But from what I've saw in practice and qualifying, it didn't look too bad. I kind of enjoyed watching it. We saw some new names up front, which was nice to see, and we'll have to see how the Xfinity race goes. That's going like right now, so hopefully I'm not missing anything too spectacular. But I'm going to have my expectations low, and I hope they get exceeded during this race. I do think it's going to be a bit boring. Passing is going to be very, very difficult. If you want to pass someone, you're probably going to have them rack out, or you're going to have to move them. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm going to come in with an open mind and hope for the best here. But anyway, if this is your first time here, what's up? My name is Pennell. I break down NASCAR DFS each and every single weekend on this channel. You'll also find me live on Sunday mornings breaking down the entire slate and answering any questions, and I mean any questions that you guys may end up having. Although not going to be in the morning this week since we have a later race around 5 p.m. I'm planning on around a 3 p.m. start for the live stream, 3 or 4. I will let you guys know, but I do hope to see you all there. And if you all do enjoy today's free content, the one thing I ask in return, you can leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and feel free to leave a comment down below, being nice, being mean. I don't really care either way, but I'd love to hear from you. And also let me mention the sponsors of the show because they do make these videos possible. And as of right now, for a new user on either site, Prize Picks and Underdog, promo code CPEN, you get a deposit match bonus up to $100. No strings attached, that is free money. Use that to your advantage, link down below in the description or the pinned comment. I play on both sites all the time. Very fun, and I highly recommend it. All right, so moving on to the strategy portion of this video. We don't really have any track history to look at all, so we kind of have to focus on who is fast in practice, who is fast in qualifying, because it's really the only data we have. And obviously you can look at drivers that have been fast at road courses so far this year and the next gen car in general. But the guys that were fast on Saturday, I mean, these are the guys starting up front, and track position is going to be huge this weekend. That is the name of the game. Like, even if you were kind of slow in practice, but you qualified well, that's going to do you wonders rather than a guy that was fast in practice and is starting in the back, because it is going to be really tough to make up spots, especially if this race goes green. A lot of people think it's going to be very chaotic, which I'm not ruling that out. That is certainly possible. We have some 90-degree turns to work with, and yeah, some guys could end up in the wall. We've seen in practice too. A couple guys hit. We saw in qualifying, so I'm not ruling that out. But if this race goes green, it gets stretched out, and even though it's a new track and people are expecting chaos, it's kind of caution-free. I mean, assuming there's going to be caution at some point, but if it's mostly caution-free, it's going to be tough to just pass guys in general, even if you are faster than them. So track position will be huge, and I'm basically just rostering guys that I think can stay up front. Like a guy that's really fast, that's starting in 30th. I mean, it looks good on paper, but it's really going to be tough to pass that many guys unless we have a bunch of guys wreck out. So there's two ways you can look at this. You could look at this is going to be a very boring race and it goes green, or it's going to be mass chaos and some of these plays, differential plays, work out. Personally, for me, I'm playing the track position game, but you could obviously mix in both if you wanted to as well. And just for reference, we have 100 laps this weekend. Takes you about a minute and a half, 90 seconds to get around this place. So not too many dominator points to go around. So like, yes, it's nice to have the main dominator road course, but again, I am playing just track position, and that would include the guy that's up front leading laps anyway. But I'm not really looking at this as a race where I want dominators. They lead laps, good for me, but I just want guys that can finish high. All right, and finally moving on to the driver by driver breakdown portion here. I do have to mention one thing first, and that is Patreon is still running free trials for a week. So if you want to come in, check out all the projections on the site, optimizer, ownership projections, the Discord community, which is absolutely awesome, simulation scores, and much, much more. All the data you never need, color coded nice and neat. So it's quite easy to follow. You can check that out. Link down below or in the pinned comment. And also, I think they updated their site, so it might look a little bit more fresh. I'm not really sure since I'm on the creator end, but maybe for you guys, it looks a little bit better, at least hopefully. But anyway, check it out if you want. And I do cover baseball each and every single day in a similar fashion. All right, so let's get into it here. And these are not the most up-to-date odds. I'm sure these are going to change quite drastically, actually, after we saw qualifying like Chase Elliott. I'll tell you right now, he is no longer going to be the favorite, starting in 26, especially at 5-1. So I'll talk about who I think is going to be the favorites and things like that. But for DFS purposes, let's just dive in. We'll start up top with the man, Kyle Larson, $10,600 on DraftKings. Not the most expensive over on FanDuel. He comes in at 13.5. He's starting in 7th, and he does have one of the best odds to win this race. I don't think he'll be the favorite, but he's certainly going to be up there. And I do want to mention, practice was a little bit weird. Some of these lap times get a bit skewed here at these road courses, and obviously there was a lot of traffic. But I was able to find something on Twitter for the lap-by-lap data. So shout out to NASCAR Damas on Twitter. And Twitter's a mess right now. I can't even get tweets to load because apparently I'm at my limit. I only get like 600 tweets a day since I don't have the verified. So hopefully that gets fixed soon. But I can barely use Twitter, which is very unfortunate right now. But I was able to find some of that lap-by-lap data, and I tried filtering out a lot of the bad numbers because some guys ran like 120-second laps, which obviously is not their actual speed. So from what I saw, the fastest cars here is overall Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, Shane Van Gisbergen. I believe I'm pronouncing that right, although I better learn how to pronounce it because he has a very fast car this weekend. And then Kyle Larson here rounding out that, like top 7. So basically all the Toyotas besides Bubba Wallace, which is not a surprise, and then Shane. I mean, they just put down some really good laps in practice. So I just want to show you guys that because some of these consecutive lap data looks a little bit weird. So I don't want to get caught up into it too much, but still good data to look at. Either way, Kyle Larson looks like he's going to be solid for this race. He's got good track position to start with. I mean, 6th in the 1 lap, 3rd in the 5 lap, and then obviously 21st in the 10 lap. But I don't know how screwy those numbers are going to be. And then also the 15 lap numbers were on the NASCAR website, but I was having a hard time exporting those as well. So yeah, a bit of a mess on a couple of these parts here. But if we're just looking at some of the numbers this weekend, I'll tell you guys the data sets that we're looking at. So for recent track history, basically just the 2 road course races we've been at this year. And then for similar track history, it's all the road courses we've had in the next gen car so far. So that's an 8 race sample size. Then obviously we have the season history as well, just for guys that ran fast this year. Just helps a little bit. We're throwing that in the data pool. But I would like to focus on how they ran the next gen car this year for the most part. And Kyle Larson, obviously he's been solid. I mean, he hasn't been amazing, but he has had a fast car each time. Now the finishes aren't always going to be there, but he's in the player pool. He's a fine tournament play, but I wouldn't say I'm going out of way to play Kyle Larson. I do prefer the man right below him, Martin Truex Jr. here at $10,400, $13K over on FanDuel. He's starting in 11th. I was hoping he'd start a little bit further up, but I still think he can get the job done here. Sort of 8th at Sonoma, which I'm not trying to compare Sonoma to the street course here in Chicago too much, but obviously Truex was the fastest man on the planet there, just absolutely killed it. And he was very fast in practice. Obviously he had one of the best cars overall if you're looking at the lap-by-lap data. And if you're looking for the consecutive laps, 4th, and 2nd. So yes, Truex is going to have a fast car, and I think over the course of a long run, or just throughout the entire race, he should be able to contend for a top 5, if not contend for a win, because it looks like he's got a really good car. So I definitely like Truex here a lot. I think you can play him in cash games. And I would definitely prefer him over Chase Elliott. People are going to play Chase Elliott because it's a road course and he's got place differential, but I have my concerns. He did not look that great in practice. Obviously, qualifying had a bit of an issue where he hit the wall when he spun. So he's going to be starting 26th, 20th in the 1 lap, 16th in the 5, 16th in the 10. So I don't really have too much interest in Chase Elliott here. I'm hoping he's going to be high owned, but I'm definitely looking to be underweight here. I think he's going to have a tough time moving through the field. And it's not like he had an issue in qualifying and he was blazing fast in practice. He was just kind of slow overall. So I'll personally be having way more exposure in guys like Truex, more on Tyler Reddick, and even Kyle Larson here rather than Chase Elliott. If it bites me, it bites me. If there's a bunch of wrecks and he just ends up finishing 5th because of carnage. But I think speed alone, and this is like a green race, I don't think he's going to get there. So that's the approach I will take on him. Tyler Reddick, $10,100, 12.5 over on FanDuel. He's starting in the front row, and we're getting some Sonoma vibes here with the front row being Reddick and Denny Hamlin once again. Obviously, Sonoma was not that kind to Tyler Reddick, but I have a feeling he's going to have a bit of a better race this time around. Obviously, he crushed Coda earlier in the season. And he opened up at, well, he had some different odds everywhere. I know someone got him at 10-1. Then I saw him at plus 750. I saw him at 600. The most recent odds I got him were 650. I'm assuming he's going to be the favorite or the co-favorite with either Denny Hamlin or someone else up front. But I'm not really sure who that would be because I don't think they're going to put Shane as the favorite. And I don't think they put Bell there either. So it's probably going to be either Hamlin, Reddick, or Truex, or maybe even Larson, but I'd say right now Tyler Reddick would be the most likely guy for me to be the favorite with how good he's been at road courses. And obviously, if you're looking by the lap-by-lap data that we looked at a little bit ago, he was near the tops of the charts. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot of interest in Reddick, and I know he doesn't have any place differential to work with, but I think track position is going to be huge for this race, so that'll definitely help him out. Dropping down to the 9K range, we have the Dinger here, 9,900 bucks. He's starting in 10th. So for the 5 lap and 10 lap, he was basically dead last in those. And I was looking at some of his lap times, and I think it just kind of got skewed a bit. So I'm not going to look into that too much. We know how good Dinger is at road courses. I do like him for this layout at the street course. I think he's going to be fine, so I do like Dinger here. I mean, there's really not much to say. It's a road course, so you got to have interest in the guy. Kyle Busch, 9,700 bucks. He's starting in 18th. 19th in the 1 lap, 19th in the 5, 5th in the 10, kind of all over the place. If you're looking by lap data, it wasn't as bad as some of these numbers would suggest. Problem is, though, he's starting mid-pack, so he's got some work to do. I think he's an okay play, but I do prefer the two above him, like Tyler Reddick and AJ Allmendinger, over Kyle Busch right now, but can't rule him out of the road course because he has been pretty darn good in this 8 car so far with an average finish of 2nd this year at the 2 road courses. Then we have Ross Chastain, 9,600 bucks. He's starting on 34th, and I think he's in a very similar situation to Chase Elliott, where the ownership's going to be high. He's coming off a race win where he dominated that race, and he's starting in the very back. And Ross Chastain's a big name, and he's had a lot of success at road courses in the next-gen cars, so of course people are going to play him. But again, it's going to be tough to pass, and it's not like he was fast in practice and just screwed up in qualifying. He just was not that good. 30th in the 1 lap, 28th in the 5, 32nd in the 10. If you're looking by lap data, that was pretty bad too. I know the track history is good at road courses, but he just doesn't have it this weekend. I don't see where he's going to get all this speed, so I am personally going to pass on Ross. And I mean, maybe you get a little bit of exposure if it happens to be a carnage race, but again, if like half the field doesn't wreck out, I do not see how Ross is going to work here. I just don't think he's got the speed to pass a bunch of guys, and passing is going to be tough anyway, even if he did have the speed. So I would definitely be underweight on Ross. Probably a somewhat similar situation for William Byron, plus he does have to drop to the rear because he did hurt his car in, I believe it was practice, or was it qualifying? I think it was practice. I forget either way, but he just have to go to the rear, and he's going to be scored from 22nd. So again, passing will be rough, so you can throw him in the same scenario as Ross Chastain and Chase Elliott. And then we have Christopher Bell here at 9,100 bucks, 82 on FanDuel. Very easy to get over on the blue site. He was fast in practice. And while those numbers at the road courses are not that impressive this year, he has had some good runs at them in the past. And I think the most important thing is what we saw in practice and qualifying. And he seems to have a lot of speed. Toyota looks really good in general. So as long as he can keep his track position and not screw during the race, I do think Bell's a fine play at that price point, especially over on FanDuel. Very easy to fit in over there. Dropping down to the 8K range, Daniel Suarez at 8,900 bucks, 10K over on FanDuel. He's starting in 5th, and looks like he's got a solid car, way better than his teammate Ross Chastain. Him and Shane, who is his teammate this weekend, seem to have the best cars. And we know Suarez is fine at road courses. Screwed up at Sonoma early on lap 1, where he just kind of screwed up a turn, then he couldn't really recover because it was a green race and just not really any opportunities to gain 20 more spots because he lost like 20 instantly. So that was unfortunate. I do have a bet on Suarez. Not to win, although before practicing qualifying, my model did like him as value, but I did not place any outrights just because I didn't feel comfortable with it without seeing practice. So I'll have to see how the odds shake out. Maybe I'll put some wagers on some guys. But I do have Suarez to win his group. I forget who was in that group now, but he was plus 330, and I think he qualified the best out of those guys. I think. I forget if Denny was in the group or not. If Denny was in the group, that kind of sucks. But either way, I do feel good about the number that I got. So Suarez, he's a fine tournament play, good track position, and seems like he's got a good car. Michael McDowell, he is the same exact play as Suarez. We know Michael McDowell is really good at road courses, so I have no issue there. I mean, if you're looking at what he's done in the next-gen car so far since last year at road courses, average finish at 10.5, 5 top 10s, 7 top 15s. The guy's just a machine, and he had one of the best cars at Sonoma, so I don't see why the speed won't show up once again. Chris Buescher, him and Michael McDowell and Chris Buescher like the same plays every single time at road courses, although this time around, Chris Buescher did not qualify as well, which kind of sucks because I do like him having that good track position and always lowers his ownership, but he too has just been straight money. Average finish of 8.3 road courses, averaging just over 40 points per race, which I believe is actually the most of all drivers at road courses in the next-gen car. So Buescher and McDowell lit up on them both, although Buescher does not have the track position, but that does make him have a little bit of a safer floor, and practice looked fine for him. Austin Cindric, 8,400 bucks, dirt cheap on FanDuel at $6,800. He was chalk last time we had a road course. He sucked, and I don't think he's going to be chalk this time again, but I mean, he just still sucks. He's slow. He messed up his car. He qualified poorly. If Cindric can't get it done in road courses, I'm not really sure why he's in Cup, because he can't do anything else, it seems like. So, yeah, just tough times ahead for Austin Cindric, and I don't see what's going to change here. So I'll be passing on Cindric. Joey Logano, 8,200 bucks, 75 on FanDuel. He's starting in ninth. I kind of hate rostering Joey, but you might have to a little bit just because he's starting inside the top 10 and he's cheap. And if he can squeak out a 7th place, that's not bad. Like, I'm not excited to play Joey, but I mean, he'll make the player pool. Denny Hamlin, 8,000 bucks, cheap on both sides, kind of similar to last time we were at a road course. Qualified in the pole. He was very fast in that race. If he did not end up like wrecking out, I think it would have been a decent play. Obviously, that caution with the tire on pit road kind of screwed it up because he lost some track position, but he's got a very fast car. I mean, looking at the lap by lap data, really good. If you're looking at the 1, 5, 10 lap, he's second and first in those. He's got good track position, and Toyota just looks really strong in general, and I don't think that's going to go away. So as long as Denny doesn't wreck, I think he's going to be able to stay within the top 5 for the majority of the day. And if he can lead some laps and get some fast laps down, that's not bad at 8,000 bucks. So I think Denny's fine. Dropping down to the 7K range, you have Alex Bowman. He's starting in 13th. Not a bad road course racer. I'm like excited about Alex Bowman, but I think I'd rather get to him over Joey Logano personally. Save a couple bucks there and you get extra place differential there. So I don't think Bowman's a bad play for tournaments. Ryan Blaney, I prefer Bowman. I prefer Shane here in this range. I think I prefer Denny Hamlin. He obviously struggled a lot at the Sonoma race. Now he did make it up at the end when he stayed out, but then he spun 2 times because he was on old tires. So Blaney, just the guy that whatever the optimizer gives me on Blaney, I'll take it. But I do not have a strong stance there either way. Just practices all over the place, and I'm not like super confident in the guy anyway. Then we have Shane Van Gisbergen. I think that's how you pronounce it. Either way, he deserves some respect this weekend because he's in the 91 car for Trackhouse, Project 91, and the dude is fast. He is looking very good. He was first in the 1 lap, 9th in the 5 lap. I'm not going to pay too much attention to some of these lap datas, but overall, he was like top 7 in overall speed, looking by the lap by lap numbers. So he's here. He came here to play. He was fast in qualifying, almost got the pole until Reddick and Hamlin stole it at the end there. But I think you got to play the guy, especially on FanDuel. He's only 6,200 bucks to stay within the top 5, top 8. I will take it. DraftKings, I think he can be a legit top 5 contender in this race. Now, obviously, this is going to get some good cars behind him, but I mean, at this price point, we definitely have to take some chances on him. The guy is fast, and I mean, he's adapted to this car well. So I definitely aboard the Shane train. I don't think he's going to win, but I mean, the guy looks pretty good. Like, I'd rather play Shane than Harvick personally. I mean, again, these place differential plays that have the potential to be chalk, they just scare me because 1, they're slow, and 2, they just do not have track position. It's going to be really tough to pass without some cautions or getting lucky on pit strategy or things like that. So they need Carnage to work out. So if you want to build some Carnage lineups, you can do that. But if you just want to build like regular road course lineups, it's going to be really tough to trust guys like Harvick, Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, in my opinion. So I'll be pretty low on Harvick, whether my projections like him or not, but I'm hoping they don't. I don't think they will. Ty Gibbs, 7,300 bucks. He's starting in 12th, cheap on both sides here. I like him either way. I know if you guys are listening to the Denny Hamlin podcast, I forget if it was him or William Byron said it, but Ty Gibbs was lighting up the sims and kind of backed it up. Looked pretty good in practice, and obviously didn't do bad in qualifying. He was running well at Sonoma before the field kind of got flipped a little bit, and then he just got stuck. But I think Ty Gibbs is a fine turn of play. Brett Keselowski wasn't terrible in practice, but it's really tough to trust him at a road course. He's starting in 20th. It's one of those guys where he's fine. I don't hate him. I don't like him either. So if he lands on 11% for me in the opto, I'll take it. If he doesn't give me any, I don't care. Chase Briscoe, kind of in the same boat as Brad Keselowski. It's really tough to trust these guys. And Stewart-Haas Racing overall was really bad. Briscoe obviously didn't have a terrible run in qualifying, but just kind of tough to trust in my opinion. Dropping down the 6K range of Bubba Wallace, you just cannot trust the guy at road courses. He seems to wreck out like first immediately every single time. So we'll see. Obviously, he has the MJ narrative going for him in Chicago here, but I'm not sure that'll be strong enough for it to pay off. If you want to take a couple stabs at it, go for it because he's got track position, but he is just one tough driver to trust at a road course. Jenson Button, $6,800. On FanDuel, he is $3,000, and he's got like legit top 10 speed this week. So yeah, I'm gonna have to play him over on FanDuel. DraftKings, he's fine too. He's only $6,800, but on FanDuel, $3,000. You can build whatever lineup you want if you play Jenson Button, and if he finishes like in the top 12, which I think is very doable. They got a pretty good sponsor this week. They got the Mobile One on the car, and he looked good overall. So I'm aboard the Button train. I'm on the Foreigners this weekend with Shane and Jenson Button. So I do like it. It does feel a little bit weird on 4th of July weekend, but I mean, the practice speeds there what they are, and he did look good. Ricky Stenhouse, like for me, I am playing more button than I am Ricky Stenhouse. I am not chasing this chalk in the back that was slow in practice, and obviously they didn't qualify, but I mean, he's just slow. I don't want to roster a guy that's just stuck in 32nd place all day when I can get button. He's got the track position and legit top 12 speed. Eric Almirola, I typically don't play at road courses. He was slow as well. Ryan Preece, just Stewart Haas Racing sucks in general. Eric Jones was slow. The 5K range isn't looking too pretty either. We have Austin Dillon, who has gotten better at road courses, but just didn't really show us anything. Justin Haley, he didn't get to qualify. He's starting dead last. Haley I can get to. I know he's dead last, but we don't need much out of a guy that's $5,100. And if he can gain you 10 spots, which I don't think will be too hard to do. He's actually a decent road course racer with an average finish of 20th this year at them. I don't mind it, but again, I'd prefer to have track position. Corey LaJoie, he's a decent pivot off of Justin Haley. He will definitely have some ownership. He's already 19th, but was not bad in practice. 7th the 1 lap, 2nd in the 5, 14th in the 10. If you're looking at his numbers at the road courses this year, only a 2-race sample size, but average finish 15.5, 2 top 20s, 1 top 15. So I don't think it's the worst point in the world, especially with track position. Harrison Burton, not a huge fan of him. Like, he's there just to pivot off of Haley, I guess, but I don't love it. Gragson, I actually don't mind Gragson. Showed a little bit of speed in practice in the 1 lap and not a bad road course racer. Todd Gilliland I can get to. Andy Lawley, no thank you. Josh Bilicki, no. Ty Dillon, probably no. So if I had to pick anybody in the 5K range, I'm pretty much looking at Haley, LaJoie, Gragson the most, and obviously Todd Gilliland as well. I don't mind it. Like, they're all pretty much the same play. I'd just kind of mix and match them for the most part. No strong stances there. And it's really not pretty down low this week. But fortunately enough, we do have some flexibility with our lineups this week with some guys being a little bit too cheap. So I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. But it looks like that's all I got for you guys this week. So I hope you did enjoy. And if you did, make sure you like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down in the comments section. Wish you all the best of luck this week. Make sure to check out the Patreon. That is free for 7 days. If you want to check it out, links down below in the description or the pinned comment for that to get access to all the projections, data, and everything else you'd ever need. But I hope to see you all on the live stream tomorrow around 3 p.m. Eastern. Wish you all the best of luck, and I'll see you all next time.